Hi, welcome to day 4 of 12 days of free game. I'm attorney Ashley Goggins with Ashley Goggins Law, and I am walking you through the family law process during the next, I think we have 10 days left. So I've been doing the 12 days of free game. We are at day 4. Before we get started, I would like to take the time to share this out. Obviously, if you know anyone that may need this information, or you have friends and family members that are going through this process, please feel free to share this out, tag them below. This information may be helpful to them. So again, I'm going to share this out and we are going to get started. Let's go. Okay, we are going to get started. So we've talked over the last couple of days about the beginning stages of starting a family law case, whether that be going to your consultation, retaining a lawyer, filing your petition. Now, once your petition is filed, we are going to have to serve the other parent, party, or spouse. And that means the opposing party. That means if you are the petitioner, this person is now going to be called the respondent. They are the party that has to respond to what you are filing. That party could be, sometimes it can be a grandparent if you're doing a grandparent case. Sometimes it can be the Department of Revenue. Most times it's going to be the other parent and the other spouse in a family law, paternity, time sharing action, and or a divorce. Okay, so once you file, you have to request a summons. A summons is prepared by the clerk of court in the county that you are filing. Generally, the charge is about $10. It is $10 here in Duval, Clay, and Nassau counties. And generally, the surrounding counties is going to be about $10. So they will put their clerk seal on the summons. They will return it back to you, or you can obtain it from the clerk's website. Once you have that summons, then you take the summons and all of the documents, mainly the petition that you filed, among the other documents that you filed. If you filed something else when you filed your petition, you are going to take that to a process server. You cannot take the summons and the documents and give them to the other party or hand them. A process server, which is the sheriff or a certified process server, are the only ones that can serve the documents on the other party. Okay, so you cannot give the documents to the other party or the other spouse or parent. A certified process server by the state or a sheriff is the only two people that can serve documents on a party, with a limited exception as if the other party accepts service, and that is a document that is filed with the clerk, and we'll talk about that later. So once you take the documents to a process server, and generally standard process server fees are generally $40 to $50 for in-county. Generally it's like $40, $45 for a sheriff. Sometimes the private certified process servers charge a little bit more, or some of them do charge $40 or $50. It just depends. Once you get your process server, they are going to go out and attempt to make service to the party individually and personally. So they hand the documents to the party. They can serve anyone in the home that is 15 years or older in the home. The party can be served at work. They cannot be served at church. Here we go. The party can be served at work. They cannot be served at church. Okay? So they can be served at work. They cannot be served at church. Okay? So once we have service, or the process server does get into contact, personally serves the other party, at that point, you now have a timeline. That person has 20 days to respond. But prior to them responding, the process server will give something called an affidavit of service or proof of service. That proof of service must be filed with the clerk of court. Okay, so there's an affidavit of service or a proof of service. That document is then filed with the clerk and put on your docket. The reason why we have to do this is because we have to put everyone on notice that, look, I've started the action and I have served the party as I am supposed to. And if the party does not respond within 20 days, then that person can be found in default. And in order for the clerk to issue the default, they have to actually know that the party was served, and they need that proof of service or affidavit of service. So once you have filed your proof of service that you have appropriately had the party served, you're going to wait the 20 days for that party to respond to your petition. Now, let's just say you can't find the party. You can't find the spouse. You don't know where they live. You don't have their address, or you want to get a divorce. We're going to start with a divorce. If it is a divorce and you do not have children, you can do an alternative method of service called constructive service, or service by publication. So there is a notice that can be placed in the paper, but these are in limited circumstances, and there are rules that you have to abide by in order to qualify for service of process by publication or constructive service. The other alternative could potentially be a service by mail. So you can do service by mail in very limited situations. You also can do an acceptance of service. An acceptance of service is saying, look, my spouse or the other parent knows that I am filing. They are willing to accept service. So there's a document stating that, hey, I have received all of the documents that were filed in this case, and I am accepting service. I'm going to sign it, and that document is filed. That is service of process, and that qualifies as service of process as long as someone, signs it and has it filed with their name, obviously their information on it, saying that they were served. Obviously, there are rules and procedures to it, but a lot of times you see that in cases where the parties are doing an uncontested divorce. So mainly this happens in an uncontested divorce when the parties are on the same page. They all want to get a divorce, or even in time sharing cases, our paternity actions, you can do the same thing. So you also have to they still have to respond or file an answer, unless you guys have reached an agreement, and the agreement is already filed, a marital settlement agreement or something like that is filed with the clerk. Again, limited circumstances. So once they file their answer within the 20-day time period, then the case proceeds to the next step. If you are having issues with process service, there are private investigators that could assist in helping you find an address. They can do JEA checks, they can do background checks and things like that. Sometimes you can look on the clerk record for the last known address. There are trace searches. So there are a myriad of ways, especially in today's age, to find parties. If you do have kids with someone, it is going to be much harder for you to go through the process without getting the other party served, because in certain situations, in certain cases, the party must be personally served. In instances where the party is running, because people try to evade service when they know that a process server is looking for them. They will try to hide. Sometimes the process servers can stake out. They have pictures of the party, and they can see that they are home. They can see that their tag is valid. They can see them when they walk out, but they won't answer the door for a process service. They can do something called a drop service. So they can drop the papers on the doorstep, and that would be considered service. But the process server is the only party that can make that determination of whether the case qualifies for a drop service after they've done their due diligence in trying to personally hand the documents to them in their hand. Again, limited circumstances, and that doesn't happen as often, but one party can find themselves in a bad situation if they are caught evading service, because a judgment can be entered without them if there is a default judgment, then the party can go straight into the final hearing, and everything that they ask for. Remember, the relief that they requested in their petition can be granted in certain circumstances, even if the party is not there or doesn't show up. So evading service sometimes doesn't work. But that is it, guys. That is process service. If you have any questions, put them below. If you need clarification on anything that I said, put it below. If you want me to discuss something here on the either Free Game Friday or during the 12 days of Christmas, or 12 days of free game, go to freegamefriday.com. I will be back here tomorrow before football starts. I will be back here tomorrow. So I see you guys tomorrow. And don't forget to share this out with a friend. Bye.